All right, welcome to another broadcast. So glad that you guys are here. Yet another story that I think is worthy of our time to look into and talk about the bigger issues. So we're going to give people just a minute and a half, and then we're going to dive right into this story, okay? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today is Saturday, May the 3rd, 2025. You're going to want to stick around at the end of this broadcast because I'm going to be giving some advice to black entrepreneurs out here. It's not popular, and I almost promise you probably have never heard anybody say this. I can almost promise you that. So again, I repeat, you're going to want to make sure you stick around to the end of this broadcast because I'm going to be giving some advice to black entrepreneurs out there that, like I said, I promise you probably have never, ever heard anybody say this before. We're going to get into it because I told you I have to keep it real, man. I got to keep it real. All right, we're going to give people about another 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to go ahead and jump in, okay? All right. We're still waiting for people to come on in. Welcome to another broadcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Just real quick, again, another reminder. This will probably be the final reminder. We have our class tomorrow, Saba University AI Artwork 101, from words to masterpieces. If you're not signed up and you're someone that's been really interested in learning how to use these tools to create some very, very good artwork, learning how to tap into your own creativeness, this is going to be the class for you. It's going to be a very fun time, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be on Zoom. And no, cameras aren't required to be on, but the reason why I'm doing it on Zoom is because I want to give people an opportunity to share your work, so, you'll have an opportunity to share some of the things that you will be creating as I will be creating things during that class. One of the things I will be creating during that class is a birthday card. Wow. Mother's Day card for my mom. And so I'm going to show you how to do it. And, who knows, some of you may even get inspired to start your own greeting card company. And so this will be a great opportunity for you to learn the different tools that are out there and to really do work that's going to stand out. And as I pointed out in the past, there's a lot of people, I'm seeing black folks who are using this. And I am seeing a uptick in the amount of people who are just doing the basic stuff. And I know we can do much, much more than that. But there are some artists out there too that are doing some they're really throwing it down out there too. But, we need to kind of tilt the scales even more, so that we really people are learning how to tap in and how to use this technology to put together some really good stuff. One of the platforms we'll be using in class tomorrow. They just did another update, and man, that thing is something. So we're not going to cover every last detail of these tools, but we'll be covering quite a bit. Tomorrow, hopefully I'll get it done. My book, I have a book that's coming out. It's called The Big Black Book of AI Prompts, and it's basically going to go through everything, like how to prompt. What are some of the prompts that you can use for various things? Everything from not just artwork or how to find a pony, I ain't talking about that, but really getting into how to start a business, how to get, looking at nutrition and, building a food plan and, getting into a lot of that stuff. If you're in homeschooling, what are some prompts for that really help you to build out things? If you're trying to build a homeschool from the ground up, you're going to know how to use this technology in that book to be able to do those things. Because it's just the information is too much out there for us not to be using this technology. And I want to be able to help you with that. And so that's why we have this class here too, Samba University ChatGPT for grown folks. If that one is already pre-recorded. If you get it, you'll immediately get the link, the download link to watch the video, and you'll get your free 78-page book with that. So we're ramping up here, and so that will be tomorrow. So those of you who have signed up for this class, I did send out the Zoom link as promised. So the Zoom link has been sent out. Please check all your folders and everything like that, okay? And make sure that you have that, okay? Because that email that I sent out, it has some very important information in there, and I really, 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 really need you to look at that first before coming into the class, okay? Because that's going to be very key, so the expectation is set. All right. Looking forward to having a great time with y'all, and that should be a wonderful time. So again, if you want to sign up for it, just head on over to sambatree.com and just go over to that section there, Samba University. And remember, Samba Tree, we're all about health and wellness. And that's what we're all about here, not just on sambatree.com, but also Samba Journeys, the YouTube page that you're on right now. We're really all about that. And this is why we talk about these topics, because we ultimately are about seeing the wellness and people coming to health, good health, and their well-being being improved. And, it's one thing to talk about these problems, but it's another thing to provide solutions. And that is what we do here. You can check out our latest blog post, really talking about people who feel as if they have to carry everything within the family. And no, that is not what you're supposed to be doing. You are not supposed to be the chief cook and bottle washer. Nobody is. You hear what I'm saying? I hear far too many of our sisters saying that, believing that they have to carry everything. No, you do not. When I hear people say, if I don't do it, then this whole family's going to fall apart. Well, guess what? The family is probably falling apart. Okay. So that boat has already been missed. What you have to prioritize is you. Okay. Taking care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be in any situation to take care of anybody else. So this article actually goes through the impact of thinking that way on your body. And it's some of the things that you need to do. But on the top of the list, of course, is realizing that, no, this is not what our sisters are supposed to look like. You're not supposed to look like this. You're not supposed to be doing any of this. No, absolutely not. Okay. So if you're out there and you're listening to me and the sound of my voice, and you're in that position and you feel like you got to carry everything, you're the glue that's holding everything together, let me give you a little bit of harsh reality. Like I said in the post yesterday, that S that's on your chest that you think that stands for super, it actually stands for sucker, because that's exactly how you're operating. I'm just being real. You're being played as a sucker. That is not what you're supposed to be at all. No, you're not supposed to be doing that. You need to get the help that you need. And this platform, we are 110% committed to doing just that and providing you some real solutions on how to do that, not just in products and stuff like that, but in the many of the videos that we produce here on this platform. Okay. So again, that website is sambatree.com. All right. So again, good to see everybody here. And again, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Want to get into the story that I saw just today. Now, as you know, a lot of people, they're all talking about this whole thing with the little white woman in Minnesota. She called the little black kid, the N-word. And man, oh man, just read the post that I just posted just yesterday on that. I'm not going to get too much into that. But while that's going on, while people are just getting all in an uprage on that, we have stories like this that's happening all the time. I'm going to show you this Instagram page here. This is a guy. He's a chef. He's this young black guy in Oakland, California. And he has a restaurant here, because I'm just learning about it. It's called Pierre. And let me get the Instagram page up for you. It's right here. So you can see, unfortunately, I could play stuff, but I can't play the audio here, but I'll just play so you can kind of see, what it looks like here. So this is a restaurant that he has in Oakland, and young guy putting together some looking like some really good food. You know, he calls us. He says he's a celebrity chef. You know, I know a lot of people say that now. That's like the thing to say now. But I mean, the food look good. Shoot, I mean, even rather I don't care what he calls himself. The food look good, and people having a good time and all of that. So you can see there, have a good time, a little nice place for them to get together and hang out and chill out and have some good food. And here's some other videos here, some more of the food. I don't do that kind of, that's not me with the, I'm sorry. I don't do that one. I don't do the shellfish. I'm sorry. I can't do it, but the other stuff that looks wonderful. It looks great. And people are, loving it. And just take the time and go through it. I mean, this man seemed like he's really put in the work to do. If I was there, I would eat it. I would definitely come here. I mean, it ain't no, I'm looking at this food. I would definitely be right there to check them out for real. For real. I would definitely be there. Everything looks really good. I mean, even the restaurant, I'm trying to see if you can get a view of what the restaurant looks on the inside. Let me see if I can, that's nice. Look at that. Look at that. Really nice. Nice little place there. Just based on the architecture, I mean, it looks like that's like one of them older buildings. Really nice. I'm looking at the ceiling and all of that, and people are having a good time, right? Well, unfortunately, in the hood, all good things will come to an end. I was on X today, and he on his Instagram, I believe, he posted this video here. So let me get this up here. This just happened last night. Let's see, today is Saturday, and this just happened last night. I will warn you, there's going to be some strong language here. So, but I'm just going to let him say what he needs to say, because I think everyone needs to hear this, and let's go ahead and play it, okay? So this just happened last night.
Thank you, Oakland. I appreciate this shit. All the fucking hard work, 20 years of fucking working. This is what y'all gave me. Thank you, I appreciate it so much. Shit is just great, man. Worked so fucking hard to build this shit. So many fucking late nights, early mornings for this punk ass shit right here. Coward ass, bitch ass shit right here. Thank you. Thank you so fucking much, Oakland. I appreciate that shit, bro. All you niggas with this punk ass, phony ass, dumb ass beef shit y'all got going on, man. I appreciate y'all, bro. Y'all brought that punk ass shit to a fucking restaurant, the only black owned fine dining restaurant that we have. Thank you. Thank you. I give up. Thank you. I appreciate it.
He said he gives up. Now, people will hear that, and they, you know what a lot of people will say out of sympathy? They will say, no, bro, don't give up. Don't give up. No, man, no, you can't. No, don't give up. Let me tell you something. Nicole and I, I told you, we have done a lot of things. One of the things we did when we first got married, we actually owned a very small, it was a coffee shop / restaurant. And let me tell you, when he said early mornings and late nights, that was just a coffee shop that we had. It was nothing near the level that he's dealing with. Running a restaurant, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. Running your own business, it's a lot of hard work. Like people off the time, I'm always working. I'm literally always working. Now I take breaks, of course, and take some time to myself and, whatever. But for the most part, I am always working. Always. That just comes with it. But, you got to love it. You know what I mean? Either you love it or you don't. If you're just doing it clearly just for money and money only, it will aid you, and it will aid you very quickly. Trust me, you know. But it has to be something that you're getting something out of it that's more than just money. You know what I mean? And this guy here, he said 20 years of hard work he put into that. Between, like a lot of these chefs, they start in their own kitchen and they start serving dinners for their families and friends and all of that. And, they build up, and then words start getting out about their stuff and all of that. And then finally, he reaches the level where he can have his own restaurant, and this happens. Now, this is not the only thing that I've been noticing. When I tell you, I have a whole collection of videos of stuff like this happening. I'm just going to show you just a few of them, okay? One of the trends that you're not going to hear about, unfortunately, is there's this weird trend for some reason, where black folks are starting things in Mexican restaurants. Yeah, you're not going to hear that. That may be the first time you've heard that. Because a lot of times what we hear about is these Mexicans, they need to go back to their own country. They need to go out of here. They need to get out of here. I'm going to call ICE and all that other stuff. And you know my views on, legal immigration when it comes to illegal immigration, okay? Not all Mexicans are here legally, all right? So I'm not stupid or dumb like that. But what people will do, ignorant people do, is do this blanket thing and assume that all Mexicans are here illegally and they're just pulling from the system and all that stuff. And that is not true. That is absolutely false. There are some legitimate folks here that are here legally. They have legitimate businesses. A lot of these businesses, especially if you live out here in the West, a lot of these are family run and they are legitimate businesses. And imagine you trying to put something together, have something nice, not just for you and your family, but for the community, to share your stuff, that what you have, your culture's food and all of that. And then this happens. So let me share with this. This just happened as well. This happened down in Jackson, Mississippi. Let me play this and, just let it go. Let's just let it ride. Mexican restaurant. I mean, this dude just they just tearing up everything. So, I can let it play, but you get the point there. Here's another restaurant here. This is another one. I played this the other day. This is another Mexican restaurant. This is in Chicago, I believe. Yeah, it's in Chicago. And let's let this one play. They ate half of their food and they demanded a refund. And so the people were like, nah, man, you can't do that. Well, this is what happened.
A waitress attacked and beaten at a Pilsen restaurant by two female customers who then took off. This happened on Sunday at El Taco Azteca in Pilsen.
I feel rage primarily because something like this has never happened before. And for it to be over a $50 bill just doesn't make any sense. A merciless beating caught on camera, all stemming from a dispute over the check. Before fists flew, a disgruntled customer went behind the bar and dunked the waitress's phone into a bucket after she was told she would not be getting a refund. The restaurant alleges both customers had finished most of their takeout order when they demanded a refund. That same customer then takes her frustrations out on the restaurant. She starts making a mess of the place. Employees tell me the waitress began to call 911, escalating the situation into an all-out melee. The beating continued for about 2 minutes, where both women were seen stomping, punching, and kicking the waitress. I came in, and when I heard what was going on, I was able to pull off one of her attackers. When we finally got them separated, one of them turned to me and started swinging. We're keeping that waitress identity anonymous here tonight. We can tell you, though, she is recovering, but she did suffer a broken pinky, bruises on her head, and cuts on her face, as well as bruised ribs. Tonight, the restaurant is calling on Chicago police to find those responsible.
And tonight, Marta is not mincing words. She has a message for those responsible. I want them to know we're going to find you, whatever it takes. I'm putting everything I have into this.
So there you go. That's a restaurant there. And here's just some other restaurants here, random ones. For whatever reason, you come there, you eat their food, and what do? You just opt to do this. Now, we understand that this is not a representation of all black folks. That is not true. But this is a segment of black folks who are part of what we call black culture, or more specifically, modern black culture. This happens literally every day, all the time. So you mad at whatever, and look at what you're doing. You just totally seriously, is there any plate of food that's worth this? Seriously, is it any plate of food worth this? So you got that going on. This was what was the other one here? This is just another restaurant, people wanting to come and they want to sit down and want to eat. So now you want to handle business within a restaurant where people just want to come and sit down and eat. And this is what goes on. And anyway, they go, what's going to happen. They're going to start throwing blows and all that stuff. Okay. But I can also go on there. And like I said, I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to be giving some advice here, because when I saw that first video that I showed you with the young man who has a restaurant in Oakland, I mean, yeah, that did something to me because I could feel his pain on that one. And remember this story here. Let's go to this one. This is, we were talking about the whole Dine and Dash situation that's happening in places like Chicago. Again, this is another black-owned business. I want you to listen to it.
People skipping out on their bills lately.
Tia Ewing has the latest on the uptick.
Now you see them and now you don't. We've blurred the video because the trio hasn't been charged yet. But you can't miss that distinctive blue wig and the massive tab they left behind.
The server went to the table. They asked for the ticket to be split. She left from this table behind me to a few steps away, clicked the button. As she left, they got up one at a time and walked out.
3 days ago, the three women from Rochester, New York visited Soul Vibes in the Near North neighborhood to celebrate a birthday and left behind a surprise, an unpaid tab of over $200.
They actually ran out the door and ran and hid behind a service vehicle that was in traffic.
They decided to dine and dash after devouring chicken wings, Alfredo, and washing it all down with flights of drinks.
It's not violent, but it's a crime, and it affects us, and it affects our bottom dollar, and it affects our team members.
They were spotted on surveillance, leaving one by one within 30 seconds of the server stepping away. They also forgot that they signed up on the wait list before being seated, including their name and phone number. And to add insult to injury, they posted this onto social media, thanking the restaurant for the free food while laughing at waitstaff like Chloe Jackson.
I'm here 3 days a week.
Their greedy crime comes with a much heavier cost.
Some places do make the servers come out and pay for those bills, but Fab and Soul Vibes here, they don't make us pay for it. That's really grateful because $300, $400 could really break our bank for that day.
Sadly, Dine and Dash incidents are on the rise. The owners run 2 Soul Vibes locations and 3 I Can't Believe It's Not Meat restaurants. And in the last 6 months, they've seen an uptick in these type of incidents. These are just a few of the incidents they've recorded.
It's ministry of pennies and nickels. So when you get these dine and dash incidences, You know what I mean? You know, the consumer or the people that are doing this dine and dash might think, oh, it's just $100. Yeah, but it's hurting the bottom line.
Yeah.
Now, a police report was made. Chicago police are now investigating. If charged, the suspects could face a Class A misdemeanor for theft of services under the amount of $500. That's punishable by up to.
Hey, we get that on what she's saying. I appreciate her reporting on this. Yeah, what people, you know, there are restaurants. If you've ever, you know, when you go into the city sometime, and it depends on the restaurant. Some restaurants make you pay up front. And the reason why they do that is because of the fact that, you know, of these things. So it's very it's messed up, I think, because, you know, that's just not how restaurants traditionally are. You go, you sit down, they bring out, you know, a little, like, you know, some water, maybe some drinks or whatever, and some bread. And, you know, then you order your food. After you order your food, they ask you for desserts. And then after everything is served, then they'll say, okay, now you can pay. But because of this kind of activity, you know, now there are a lot of restaurants now are making people pay up front. And you see this, unfortunately, a lot happening, especially with Black-owned businesses. And that's what I'm focused on this particular broadcast here that we're doing now. This is just another reminder of the story that we talked about, Miss Z in New York, in Harlem. And, you know, she was the first Black woman in New York City to have a, what do y'all call the corner stores in New York City again? The, whatever the name is. She was according to her, she's the first Black woman to own one of those. And so you're talking history here. And unfortunately, she's no longer with us. Let me play the video here.
Now to just a heartbreaking story out of Harlem. A 61-year-old grandmother killed by senseless gun violence.
Yeah, that grandmother was hit by a stray bullet last night on Lenox Avenue. Her killer is still on the loose. Right now, Mayor Adams is joining community leaders for a candlelight vigil at the scene of last night's shooting to call for an end to gun violence in that area.
Eyewitness News reporter Janice Yu is there with more on the vigil and the police investigation. Janice.
Well, Joe and Liz, Mayor Adams actually stopped by earlier, but now community members as well as local activists and the family members are gathered to remember the 61-year-old who was shot and killed. Her name is Xenia Met. She lived right here behind me. She had come outside to see what was going on when she was shot. People tell me she was a business owner. She was a leader, but an activist who meant so much to people in this community.
And I'll stop it there. So you get the story there, right? Thank you, sis. A bodega, bodega. I'm Jersey. I'm like Central South Jersey. So we didn't call them. We just call them corner stores. But it's amazing what 50 miles difference and the language changes. Like it's a whole nother world. Trust me. Between South Jersey and New York, we just call them corner stores, like in Philadelphia and all that. New York, they call them bodegas. Well, anyway, she was the first Black woman, according to her, that owned one of those in New York. And now she's gone because simply she was trying to intervene, in a fight that all of a sudden now people opted to bring guns into the situation. Well, this is an update to that story. And there's a part in this story that's, if you think that's infuriating, I want you to hear what happened, the follow-up. Okay. And this is the perfect segue into what I want to share with Black entrepreneurs. And I'm going to tell you something that, like I said, I can almost assure you, you probably have never heard anybody say this before, at least publicly. But I'm going to say it because enough is enough. But let's go ahead and let me play this. This is the follow-up.
Cops today are arresting the man they say opened fire in the streets of Harlem. He was shooting at another man, but an innocent bystander, 81-year-old Xenia Mate, was the one who was hit and killed.
What a horrific murder, senseless. And today, 23-year-old Ricky Shelby turning himself in to New York police. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles live in Harlem with the story. Darla.
Bill and Sade, 23-year-old Ricky Shelby surrendered to the Manhattan District Attorney in Lower Manhattan earlier this morning. Then he was brought to Harlem to be interviewed by detectives at the 28th Precinct. For friends and family who have been waiting for an arrest in this shooting, this closes almost a week of the hunt for the suspect. As for healing after the death of this community matriarch, that is going to take a lot longer. 23-year-old Ricky Shelby escorted out of the 28th Precinct Monday afternoon. The show of force by the NYPD might typically indicate a potential threat to the person officially charged in the murder of a beloved community matriarch, 61-year-old Xenia Matt. But this was quite the opposite. We love you! About a dozen presumed friends and family members of the accused gunman showing an outpouring of love from across the street.
Let me stop right there. Let's stop right there, and we're going to go back again because I want to make sure you caught what she said. Let's go back again.
Matriarch, 61-year-old Xenia Matt. But this was quite the opposite. We love you! About a dozen presumed friends and family members of the accused gunman showing an outpouring of love from across the street.
Okay, so that's going to be our good segue into what we're going to be talking about here. Okay. So here's this guy they got on video taking part in this shooting that took the life of this woman who had zero to do with anything. She was there she established a business, a respectful business in the community to be an example and to provide a service for people within the community. And you have these bastards that lined up, and instead of calling this guy out who took part in that shooting, where this woman caught a stray bullet and she's no longer with us. They're on the other side of the street cheering for this man, saying, "We love you." This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is modern black culture. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And anytime, again, I bring this up, people get mad at me for pointing this out. But this is exactly what I am talking about. This man took this woman's life. But here's the irony of it. When you get into this whole gender war stuff, because I've been following that too, who's across the street cheering this man on? It's all women, black women. So here you have a black woman who was taken out by the bullet of two black guys. And who is cheering this black man on for what he did? We love you. We're here to support you. They're cheering him on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This, what is called black culture, it promotes that. Carmelo Anthony, same thing, what he did. What he did, that was a terrible decision that he made. Terrible. Whatever happened, it did not warrant someone dying over it. But you had Negroes from the East Coast to the West Coast, from down south to all the way up north, all coming together like King Arthur's Round Table, and we gonna defend this guy, and we gonna support this guy at a tune of $500,000 because he reminds me of my son. That's the problem. If he reminds you of your son, that's the problem. But I can go into that, and like I said, there's plenty of other videos and stuff. Plenty, trust me. It'll make you absolutely disgusted on the things that I could literally show you right now. But I want to hone in on this particular video, and I want to talk about something very specific. And I'm not just saying this based off of those videos there. I'm saying this as someone who's an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur for well over 20 years. Well over 20 years. I mean, yeah, ever since I've been married, ever since we've been married. We're closing in on probably almost 30 years. We've always, Nicole and I, even though we've had jobs or whatever, but we've always had something where we were working for ourselves, always. We've had a brick and mortar store. We actually had two. We had one in Buckhead, and then some mess happened to that. That was some unrelated stuff. But we had purchased a business in Buckhead, Georgia, and then we also later on, and we had one up in Georgia in Cobb County. I can tell you a lot of stories about that too. But all of this time as an entrepreneur, it has given me an opportunity to watch, observe, and listen to many other black entrepreneurs out here. And what I'm about to tell you, like I said again, is something that you probably are not going to hear anybody tell you. And that is this. If you are a black entrepreneur and you are considering opening up a business, and specifically I'm talking brick and mortar business, within a community that's made up of majority of people who look like you, my advice would be don't do it. That would be my personal advice. I do not care if it's in the suburbs. I don't care if it's in the inner city. I would say don't do it. Do not do it. It is not worth it. It's not. I don't care if you say, well, they're setting up an empowerment zone. I don't care. I wouldn't do it. I've seen empowerment zones get destroyed, not by the government. The government and all of its inadequacies, they still say, hey, we're going to find millions of dollars here and we're going to develop some businesses here. Oh, you want me to tell you about Magic Johnson and his experience in Atlanta? Want me to tell you about that? Well, Magic Johnson, many years ago, he started opening up theaters. And I don't know if this was his first theater, but it was one of his first. He opened up in, I forgot the name of the town, but it was in Atlanta, basically. Magic Johnson Theaters. And I had the opportunity to go to it once. I remember going to it once. Beautiful theater. Beautiful. I will say he did, for that area, he did an excellent job. That theater really stood out. Nice theater. I mean, you go there and you get your food and all of that stuff. And it was, and I will tell you, and when I say nice, I'm not talking like it was like any other theater that you go to around. No, he really put some work into this where it really stood out. So I have to give him that. And not only that, in this shopping center, there were like restaurants and stuff there. But because he did that theater, what it did was it opened up a pathway for other businesses. And that was his model. He said, because a lot of like these businesses, these retailers, they're too afraid to go in there because the narrative up to that point was that we're not going to, these retailers, they must be racist. They're too racist. They don't want to serve black people. I knew back then that it was a bunch of bunk. I said, I can't think of not one entrepreneur, black, white, or whatever, that's going to run away from money. What's the other reason? Well, take a look at Magic Johnson. I would really love to see people, Negroes like that, really do an honest and open discussion on this instead of not just talking around it, just being honest and talking about it. Well, fast forward, that theater went straight to hell, like literally straight to hell. The crime just out of control. They wrecked that thing, tore that thing up, and I saw it just go straight down. And finally, he said, I give up. I can't do it. He sold it. He was done with it. And then he tried to do some other restaurant. Done. He pulled out. I don't even think he's doing that. He might be doing stuff like that now, but I don't think he's really doing too much of that now. And then in LA, he was doing the same thing. Greenbrier Mall. I knew somebody was on it. Yes, ma'am. Greenbrier Mall. Yep. Exactly. Greenbrier Mall. Exactly. That's exactly where it was. I'm afraid to see what it looks like now, if it's still standing. But that's exactly where it is. You check, anybody that's not from, check it. Check exactly what I'm saying. It was Greenbrier Mall. I remember it. I was in Atlanta when that was happening. And I saw the deterioration. I saw how it went down. But as an a black entrepreneur that happens to be black, however you want to word it, I have seen over the years that same story get played out over and over again. People shops getting stuff getting stolen. People coming in, demanding stuff, getting loud with you. I used to have some kind of way about when I would deal with, even with the Koreans, when they come with their beauty supply shops. Oh, I'm very familiar with that too. Very familiar with that. In the late 90s, early 2000s, this take my word for it, very familiar with it. There was a guy who actually did a documentary on it. You can still find it's Bopsa. You can look it up, but it's this is years ago. They did a whole documentary on like these Koreans and how they're taking over, the beauty supply. That's when the Koreans came in and really took over. That's when this documentary was done. You can find bits and pieces of it here on YouTube. I actually saw it not too long ago, a little bit of it, and how they come together and how they run things. And, honestly, how they run stuff. It's very vicious how they do it. But I remember during that time, and still to a certain extent now, it's kind of died out now, how many black folks were taking issue with how they were running their businesses. Like, if you just a female, you just going in there and you buying your stuff and all of that, and you look over your shoulder, they're following you. They're tracking you. Now, honestly, who likes that? Who likes feeling that? Or, you can't just go into the store and unless they already got somebody and they just following you aisle to aisle. Nobody likes that. And that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to make you feel some kind of way. So that's regardless. But why were they doing that? Why were they doing that? They were doing that because before you came in there, you may not be about that, but there's a lot of people who look like you who do go to those stores and do some things where thousands of dollars of stuff are being stolen all the time. So these businesses, what do they have to do? They have to invest in thousands of dollars in security. And if you're going into these beauty supply shops, in addition to having cameras on every aisle, they also have to hire a security guard that's standing at the front of the store. Then they got to change their policies. They got to say, listen, all sales are final. This ain't Target. This ain't Walmart. We don't do the whole, you bring your receipt and we'll give you an exchange. No, we ain't doing any of that. Nope. Once you buy it, that's it. We ain't doing no exchanges because we know how y'all move. But the reason why these Korean shops are able to still be in existence is because behind the scenes, they actually work as a network. These Koreans, they actually work as a network. So they're able to pool their resources. So even though it may be, I'm not going to make any kind of names of Korean names, I'll just say Mr. Park. They love that. That's their American name, that last name Park. They love that. So let's just say you got Mr. and Mrs. Park. They have a Korean shop. You may see their faces there every day doing their stuff, but behind the scenes, they got a whole network of other Koreans that they work with. And they discuss these things and they say, okay, security is becoming an issue. All right, let's pool our money together and let's make sure that Mr. and Mrs. Park got all the money that they need so that they can get camera equipment, they can hire security and all of that stuff. That is the only reason why they're still in existence. Now, when you see black folks, and this is kind of what that documentary was touching on. Many times when you see people saying, like, there's one it's somewhere in Philly. It opened up a few years ago, black-owned beauty supply shop. And, lots of applause and all of that. But a lot of times these shops are operating by themselves. They're operating, they don't have a network. They don't have a support. Their support comes from people just coming in and hopefully buying things. But they don't have a network where they can get the extra money that's required to really do business in these communities. Because it's not just having an open table or, you know, a place and all of that, you know, you just selling things. No, you need to have security up in there. You got to have security in these places. You got to. There's no way in the world you can do business in these communities and you don't have security. You have to have security, and in many cases, it will require you to have a security guard. And you got to make sure that guard ain't over there on his phone all day or sleep. So no, I would not recommend at all in this day. I wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend. If you are a Black entrepreneur and you want to do business in these communities via a brick and mortar, I wouldn't do it. I think it's more than a gamble. I just wouldn't do it. It's a destiny to disaster. That's what it is. It is. Now, am I saying to you, do not do business with Black people at all? Well, that would be very hypocritical of me, wouldn't it? No, I'm not saying that at all. You need to figure out whatever your business plan is. How can I make sure that 100% of this is online? That is what needs to be the model. This whole notion of Black Wall Street, I'm just going to tell you, get that out of your mind. Get it out of your mind. Black Wall Street, if there was a real reincarnation of Black Wall Street in 2025, it will be in flames by December. It would be destroyed by December, not by white people, not by, you know, the original story we heard about them dropping bombs and stuff. Oh, that was white people doing that. In 2025, it would be Black folks doing that. Let's be honest. Drive-bys, everything else. People sitting up there trying to piece it together, trying to, do something. And all it takes is a few to come and this whatever. Tear it down. And then all we do is sit up there. Y'all, we all gonna have to stop with these guns and all that. We gonna try to do it again now, but this time y'all gonna have to no, just don't do it. Just don't even do it. Don't even do it. Just go to the regular mall down the street and hopefully they ain't get there to destroy that either. But it's sad, but it's true. Again, now I'm not speaking in general terms and saying that all Black people operate like this. I'm not saying that. But there's far too many within what we call Black culture that are like this. And unfortunately, what we call Black culture tolerates and will defend it, as we just saw. This man killed this beautiful woman here that's trying to do something in New York. And he's got a loyal fan base on the side, and they got their phones. I'm like, hey, we with you. We love you. There should have been some real anger there. Them cops should have been holding people back from ripping that guy's head, off his neck. But instead, he gets encouraged. He gets support. He gets love. So no, I would not do that. That would be my biggest advice I would give. Do not think of brick and mortar. Well, Dwayne, what about a daycare? No, I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I like are daycares, are they needed? Absolutely. They absolutely are needed because, you need, but I wouldn't do it. It's sad. It saddens me to say that. And I know for some of you, you may hear this and your wheels are still turning and you're thinking of other ways. I wouldn't do it. I would, something like a daycare, it would have to be, I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I don't know the answer to something like that. It is a service that's needed. And it is a service if you are doing it right. It can be profitable. But I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the headache. The headache that comes with it. And the insurance. The amount of insurance you will have to pay because you are in these areas. Because these insurers, they know. They already know. The only people in the room that don't have a clue are a lot of Black folks. They don't. You think that it's like any other place. No, it's not. I can't tell you the amount of times I've driven through different sections in Philadelphia. I come across these good black business owners. Man, I'm for real. They just trying to do something. They get shut down. They eventually get shut down because why? People tear them up. So when we talk about on this platform, the things about the importance of health and wellness and focusing on those things, I'm not just saying that just to say that. That's my way, or that's our way of really trying to provide you with some, you got to focus on these things. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's this thing I was partially playing, but I'm not playing at all. I can't, I'll just say the vaccine word. So when I say vaccine, I'm just saying vaccine, but I'm going to call it V-brain. Because I think ever since that, you know what came out, it has definitely contributed to, I think it's amplified whatever craziness that was inside of people. It is just amplified it, because what I'm seeing today, it's way out of pocket. And I'm seeing more and more people just literally just talk around this, and they don't even want to deal with it. Someone said, we even need security in churches. Right. True. I used to make fun of that. I'm like, come on, what you need security? Please. Now you do. If you got a church, I wouldn't do it. And there's money involved and you pay. No, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. I would not. And that's something to say in 2025, as a black man, I'm telling black folks, don't build businesses in black communities. That is something to say. And I know there's going to be people that's going to hear this and going to get mad at me about it. Just live life a little bit longer and you'll see why I'm saying that. But what I'm not saying is I'm not telling people, black folks, to not do business with black people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying with internet, when you're doing business on the internet, I think it's much safer. And you can meet certain goals. Like for me, my goal is this. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Because it's not just about making money. I always also want to educate. I'm very big on education. Okay. We work with Shopify. Okay. Shopify just recently sent us a notification and told us that we have to remove any and all references to inflammation, cancer, and all other diseases. We have to remove all of that. Well, you can imagine a business like ours, that's kind of hard because you got people who come to the site all the time, or sites like ours that are looking for things that will address these things, high blood pressure, vision, things like that. And so what they try to do is they want to portray people like us as we're some kind of quacks. This goes all the way back to the Rockefellers. So these pharmaceutical companies, they team up with these banks and other platforms, and they start pushing these rules and say, listen, you need to take all this stuff off of your site. If you don't, you will not get your money. So now what we have to do is go through our site, and we're actually doing that today. And we have to remove all of that. Now on the cover, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to do what we do. So, but instead of just saying, oh man, we're destroying. No, I said, no, we're not going to. Okay, fine. We'll do that. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to tune up our education. We just established Samba University. So we're going to use that platform, Samba University, as a way of educating people. We're going to be doing seminars. One of the seminars are, and it's going to be a free seminar where we're going to educate people on everything that we offer on the site, everything. And we're going to be able to tell you exactly what each product, what it's for, what it does. And then in that seminar, everybody will get a free manual, a free book on that will break all of that stuff down so that so you got your reference guide. This will be something that the site, they can't stop that. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to turn up our educational side. You have to educate people. So I actually see this pivot from focusing on building brick and mortar businesses to doing it online. I actually see online being of a more value and meeting those goals that I'm shooting for. And that is not just selling things, but educating. I'm able to do that because a brick and mortar, I may not be able to accomplish that because people just come in and go out. But when you're online, you're more intentional. And so I'm able to offer a lot more things where people will get that information, get those resources. They can watch a video, they can get a book, they can get whatever. And I'm able to be more intentional. And I can also measure my effectiveness at that. You understand what I'm saying? So don't take away. I don't want you to have selective hearing in what I'm saying here. I'm not telling you do not do business with black folks. If that's what you're walking away with, then you have totally missed what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is this model of having brick and mortar, unfortunately, within mostly black communities, it's not working. It's not. For most of the time, it is not working. And I'm saying that in this age, we got to smarten up, refocus. Don't do it there. Just don't do it there anymore. Forget it. Pivot to start figuring out what it is you want to do and start doing it online as much as you can. Now, online comes with its drawbacks too. I get that. I understand that. But I would not have my wife in the restaurant that we had back in the day. There's no in the world I would leave my wife, and we were still in Atlanta. There's no in the world I would have her in there by herself. And at that time, she was pregnant. Twice. And she handling money and all that stuff, and I got her in there by herself. No, no way in the world I would do that. No way in the world. And some punk behind gonna come in there and gonna put her under stress, and she's pregnant, and I'm at work somewhere or I'm at the store trying to get supplies, and then you got some niggas going in there to, no, I'm not doing that. So as entrepreneurs, you're gonna have to start shifting how you do business. And particularly how you're doing business with black folks in this era. You're going to have to start shifting that. And I think online presents many opportunities for you to expand and grow. But you're going to have to move. You got to get out of this mindset that I'm just doing this for the community and, hey, everybody come. Nah, I ain't doing that no more, because my safety is paramount. And the safety of good customers that are coming in, and they don't want to be dealing with that. You understand? So I wouldn't do it. What people choose to do, that's up to you. But based on, like I said, I'm just saying this as someone who has been at this for numbers of years, and I wouldn't do it. I think it's a bad bet. It's a bad gamble, and most likely you're going to come out stressed out and very disappointed, because when I go to work, especially if it's my own business, I want to go there to do business and be able to smile and joke with the customers and all that. I don't want to be stressed out and I got to be worrying about, okay, are they coming in to take something? You got to look over there. Is that everything? I don't want to be dealing with that. But there's a lot of black entrepreneurs out there, unfortunately, that do deal with that. And we have to start being honest and set the expectations and really help and provide some guidance on what's a better way of doing it. You're still serving the demographic that you really have a heart for, but do it a different way. But don't do it like that, because it's just unfortunate. And for people who do you cook good food and you're cooking it out of your house, if you do that, be careful. I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't do that. You're bringing in people just because they black. Listen, because the last thing I would want to see is what that brother in Oakland. Imagine if he was doing that in his home. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't even know how to handle. I don't know. I don't even know what the answer would be to that, because I wouldn't do it at home. People do food trucks, but you got to be careful with food trucks too. You go into the wrong place and your food truck's getting held up. So what do? I'm just saying you have to be very selective. You got to be very selective on where you have your stuff. You got to be, I don't know. I'm literally thinking these things through. I'm constantly, as an entrepreneur, I'm constantly, even for ideas that I'm not going to do. I'm always thinking about other people. I was at Scottsdale, Arizona. There's money up there, you know, and they, you know, my wife, they was, I think my daughter or my wife wanted to. They was like, oh, you know, we want to get out. You know, we do on weekends, we get out. And they had like a little kind of like, oh, the community out thing or whatever. You know, everybody got their little tents and all that. And everybody's selling to some of the same stuff. It's like, whatever, you know, but it was nice. It's nice, you know. The food, it's all right, you know. You know, for whatever reason, people feel like the people who sell food at these things, they feel like every hot dog is a month worth of tuition. So I end up not buying anything in these places. But anyway, you know, it was all right, but it felt safe. I didn't have to look over my shoulder. There was none of that mess. But unfortunately, we know how it is on the other end of town. And we have to be honest with that. We do. And so anyway, one day maybe, I know Nicole is working on something, you know, doing little seminars on business. So you'll be hearing more and more of us talking about that and offering some solutions on that. So stay tuned for that. But it's just, I saw this young man and what he went through, and that just really struck my heart, because I said, I feel your pain more than you know. I do understand. I get it. And when he said at the end, I give up, I get it. I do. So it's really something. So Team Truth said, and I'm done. He said, I stopped selling our yard eggs just because I don't want folks blaming me for the bird flu. This is the day that we're in right now. So just be careful out there. And, you know, we're going to have to make some tough decisions, because I come across people all the time that have these great business ideas, but they're not thinking it all the way through. And they have a big heart. They want to do something, you know, for black folks and all of that stuff. But I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just simply saying, be smart about it, but be very real. Be very real about what we're dealing with in this day and era, because what we call black culture today will destroy it. It will, if you do not allow it to. All right. Be the best at whatever it is that you choose to do. But part of being the best is that you're going to have to be brutally honest with yourself and the people that you're trying to serve. All right. And as long as you do that, you will have a long, successful business that will attract people from all over. It will. So that's it. That's all I have for you. Let me see. Someone's leaving a comment here. They said, testimony 1 month in on our taking your supplement, CMOS, Bladderwrack, and I got to put that on the screen. Hold on. Bladderwrack and burdock root. It's a blessing, my health, and I got it from you online. Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. That's great. Great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. So glad to hear that. And we do read your emails, y'all. When y'all send emails in, messages like this, we get messages like this all the time from wonderful customers like y'all, and of different things that you've noticed in your health and all of that. That's the goal. And like I said, we're also focusing now on this right here, getting this together. And that's really what needs to happen. We got to start focusing on this. We got to start prioritizing protecting your peace. Sisters out there, you hear me all the time doing videos. I've been focusing on, the 92%, not all black women, but the 92%, but never interpret that as me going in on all black women, because I know very well that all black women do not represent them, are not represented by them. But I do feel for y'all. Okay. I do feel for those that are out here who are really trying. And I come across many of you who feel like you have to carry the weight of your whole crazy household. I am telling you, you do not have to do that. No, you don't. I'm not saying you can just walk away from it overnight, but do not put yourself in a position where you feel like you have to carry the weight of people in your household that are all over the place. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your body's not equipped to do that. I would say the same thing for men, but more so for sisters, because I hear it more for them. Don't do it. You're not, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But like I said earlier, you know, what's the response I usually get? But if I walk away from this, or if I do that, then I'm going to feel a sense of guilt. Well, that sense of guilt, what that is that motherly instinct that you have. And these fools, these bastards that are sometimes in your own household, they recognize that. I want you to hear what I'm saying here. There are people who recognize that gift that you have, that motherly instinct, and they will manipulate it every chance they get. Every chance they get. Boy, I wish there's some stories I could share with y'all. I'm gonna hold my tongue on it. There's some stories I can share with you right now of people where this has happened. They have been manipulated for years by their own family members. And they just feel like, well, yeah, I'm just going to have to be the cleanup and make sure I'm taking care of everybody. Don't be that person. Get the help that you need, because yes, you do deserve it. You do. If there's some verbal abuse that's happening, no, you don't need to be talked down like that. No, you don't take that. I don't care if the person is mentally unstable, like maybe they got some mental issues or whatever. No, you ain't gonna talk to me that way. You can get that straight. If they can eat, they can learn to shut their mouths. I'm not saying you got to abuse them back, but I'm saying don't take that from people. Well, you know, he didn't have his pills today, so he's a little cranky, or, you know, he gets a little cranky or whatever. Okay, I can get that. But if he's out here calling you all kind of names and walking all on you and doing all kinds of stuff, oh Lord, I'm telling you, I'm so close to saying something, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going. I could share with y'all some things, some horror stories. So for you, especially your older sisters, no, you cannot. You do not have to carry all of that. Right. And Power of Selfishness says family can make it without you. That's right. And guess what? Even after you dead, guess what's going to happen at the funeral? They still going to be arguing. What you going to do? Come back up raise up from the out of your grave and be like, okay, now, woo. No, you going to be gone. You done moved on to the next chapter. They're going to still be fighting. So no, don't put yourself in that position. Okay? Don't do that. You are worth it, sisters. You're more than worth it, but don't let people deteriorate you like that, because they will put you in an early grave and you ain't going to be helped to anybody at that point. All right? All right, that's it. That's all I have for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and move on. I got a lot of things I got to take care of today, but thank you so much. Remember, if you did sign up for the class, the AI artwork class, please check your email. I want to make sure that those who signed up for it, I want to make sure you got your email, because in that email, you have the the Zoom link where you can, you'll be able to access it tomorrow. That's going to be through that email. Okay. If you're not familiar with Zoom, familiarize yourself with it, please. You got all the rest of today and you got part of tomorrow. Familiarize yourself with Zoom. Make sure your Zoom app is updated so that we're not dealing with any of that. Okay. All right. That's it. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and I will see you again soon. Take care.